This is LBC News 11:52. I'm joined now on the phone by Ros Altmann. She's Director General of Saga. Hello, Ros.
Hi.
Ros, what's your reaction to the statement today, obviously particularly regarding pensions?
Well, there wasn't much in the way of good news for pensioners and savers. There was, though, a little help in people who have got pension income drawdown policies where the government has recognised that it had treated them very unfairly. But overall, I guess it could have been worse. A lot of the suggestions before the budget was that he was going to hit pension tax relief much harder than he actually has done, because the changes aren't going to come in until April 2014. But he hasn't really done much to help those who've saved and tried to take responsibility for themselves overall. It was much, much better than the budget that we had last April, which was full of banana skins. He didn't have any of those, and I think he had managed this more cleverly. But the reality for pensioners and savers is that they are very unlikely to be celebrating, if you like, tonight, unless they've got an income drawdown policy where the hope is that they will be able to get more money out.
What were you hoping to see if you were George Osborne? I give you a blank canvas. What would you have done?
Well, we would certainly have helped savers get more of their income tax-free, which would be the equivalent of increasing interest rates, but without affecting the rest of the economy. At the very least, changing the ISA rules so that you could put more of your money into a tax-free cash ISA. So, if you're saving for a house deposit, you can only put half your annual allowance into a cash ISA, and the rest has to be in a stocks and shares ISA. Well, for many people saving for their home, or if you're in retirement and you're living on your savings, you can't afford to gamble on the stock markets, but you do need as much as you possibly can in terms of interest on your savings. So this would have been a way to help them. We didn't see that, which was a bit disappointing. And I would have liked, a bit more recognition of the value to the economy of people who save, because that's so important for the future.
Mm. Do you think that he could have done more for pensioners generally? I mean, with rising fuel costs as well, do you think something could have been done there? Perhaps an allowance for that too, an extra allowance for that too.
I think that would not be a realistic expectation. We were pleased that the universal pensioner benefits were not touched. We hoped they wouldn't be, and David Cameron promised they wouldn't be, but some people were suggesting they might be, so that was good news. Obviously, it is very difficult for pensioners because the inflation rates that they face are much higher than the inflation rates faced by the rest of the country, because they spend more of their money on things like food and energy and fuel, which have gone up most in price. And we would like to see the reform of the state pension that we've been promised, but which still hasn't come through, to offer a better basic state pension that will mean much less means testing for pensioners.
When I was speaking to small business owners earlier today, a mixed reaction really I had, but one of the things that did stand out, and something that you've just mentioned, is that this is coming too late. It's not coming until 2014. How big an impact is that going to have? Is that major or a minor thing?
Well, I think it is a significant problem for anybody who's going to be struggling through 2013. But if you are a cynic, politically, the most important thing for the government is to make sure that the economy and the population feel good through 2014 and into 2015 when they're fighting an election. So, if the Chancellor is timing things politically, then it could be that he wants to make sure that the economy is growing well in 2014 and that one can perhaps coast along a little bit and see what happens next year, but make sure that whatever he needs to do to get a recovery going well the following year happens, so that he can go into the next election with a more successful economy than would currently seem to be likely.
Are you looking forward to the next statement?
I'm looking forward to the next statement and to this time next year, because by the end of next year, he will have had to do something much more radical to get growth going if it doesn't happen. And I think it's unlikely we're going to get strong growth next year. The best that we could hope for is a sort of pedestrian amount of growth. And then after that, we need to see incentives for capital investment by companies. Companies have got lots of cash, actually.